Hey, and welcome back to Slick Willy Fly. So what we're gonna do today is, a couple of weeks ago, I tied these inshore magic flies for redfish snook tarpon, and I got a bunch of requests for half size. I'll call them micro size. So this is on a 3/0 saltwater hook, and what's in the vise today is a size 2 stainless steel hook. So let's get in on it. I'm not going to tie it exactly the same. The size of the hook means I need to reduce some materials. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting a base of olive, but you can use any thread you like, any color thread you like, but olive is going to work good for me. Just like that. Might as well get a couple of my tools out. Get everything ready. I'm going to come back and I'm going to go ahead and put my Dunbell Eyes. I'm using extra small in red. Again, the size and color is very personal. I am fishing mostly shallow water. When I'm in the Florida Everglades, I'm fishing really shallow water. And when I'm in Flagler Beach, also fishing shallow water. And in the Panhandle, shallow water. So I don't need a heavy lead. I need a lead just heavy enough to make this ride hook side up. That's really my goal. So attach my head like I've explained many times. I'm going to come back and put a little drop of zap. Just to keep it where we want it. Just like that. I'm going to get my zap out of the way. Run the thread back up. And now I'm going to do a few more figure eights just to push that zap down deep into the threads and really make sure that it gets locked in where I want it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give my zap a chance to dry a little bit. And what this is going to be, I'm going to use a little bit of 6mm chenille to form a little bump. And I use the bump for a few things. I use it to position the tail the way I want it. So I'm going to use a couple of feathers, and I'm going to use a little bit of craft fur, tan craft fur. And the tan craft fur, we're going to go ahead and mark it up with a brown marker to make it look a little bit more crustacean. So I'm going to go ahead and use the rotary function here a little, just to make this little ball. And that's plenty right there. That'll work. So now I'm going to go ahead and capture it with my thread. And remove the chenille. This chenille, I use olive just because it's a kind of a natural based fly, but I mean any color will work because it doesn't even get seen. So now I'm going to prep a little craft fur. So a clump about, I guess I'm using a little bit bigger clump than the last one I made. I would say it's about, I don't know, maybe a pencil. And I don't want any of this underbrush, so I'm going to go ahead and pinch it, and then I'm going to grab my comb And I'm gonna go ahead and brush out, comb out all this little fluff that's in there. See how much comes out. And this will make it swim a lot better. I'm seriously considering putting a weed guard on this fly. So that'll be a cool little feature that we haven't done on a lot of flies. So I think it's not a bad idea to go ahead and put a weed guard on. So now I have my craft fur. I'm just pulling out the really long ones and restacking. So what do I want for a length? I'm gonna say that I want 1.5 hook shanks. So there's a shank, and I'm gonna say that that's about 1.5. I twist my my bobbin, you'll see right now. So when I'm gonna set the tail where I want it, and by twisting it, it gives me 2 perfect loops, nice and soft loops, and the thread curled the way I wanted it to curl. By doing it soft, I keep everything on top of the hook. If I draw tight on that craft fur now, it's just gonna pull everything under the hook. So now I'm gonna pull it tight and lock it in. Just like that. And the craft fur stayed right where I wanted it. And the remaining craft fur, we can actually trim away. And all this other little craft fur. You know, I love working with craft fur and deer hair. I absolutely love working with both deer hair and craft fur. I think that they just make awesome flies. It's awesome fly tying material. But, here's the but. Man, it's messy. You just simply cannot work with craft hair and think that you're not going to have a little bit of a mess. Nice, but I like it. So now what I'm going to do, in the previous fly, I used a couple of strands of Crystal Flash. But what I think I'm going to do instead on this one is I'm going to use just a tiny bit of Ripple Ice. I'm going to bar. I'm going to put a little bit of barring on this craft fur. And what I like to do as I move up the craft fur, I like my barring to get a little bit farther apart. So the bars are tighter close to the body, and then they get a little farther apart as I go out. And now, I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of Ripple Ice. That's even maybe too much. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on the hook so that it's not longer than my craft fur. I'm going to go ahead and give it a couple of wraps. I'm going to bring it to the opposite side. I'm going to hold them both where I like them, and I'm going to lock that in. Just like that. And that is some cool looking flash right there. Oh, that looks great. Anything that you think is too much, you can absolutely trim it up. But I like that. I like that a lot. Nice. So now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to grab a couple of legs. And again, I'm going to use this chrome pumpkin. I think one is plenty. And we're going to go ahead and put it on top. Right on top to start. Start to get it attached. Now I'm going to put one on either side, holding them more on top than actually on the side. And I'm locking those in. Oh, that looks good. Good, good, good. Nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend a little bit of EP brush and a little bit of Polar Chenille. The Polar Chenille is large, so I might actually trim a little bit off the Polar Chenille. I'm going to take, I don't know, maybe 2 inches, 3 inches Polar Chenille. And because I don't have a shorter size, and I think this is going to be too long, I'm going to trim it. I'm going to go ahead and trim it maybe in half. And a couple things are going to happen here. One, it's going to be trimmed to a size that I'm going to like better. And it's also going to look more random, because there's no way that I could trim these all the exact same length. Perfect. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie it in. The hard part now is keeping these rubber legs out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and tie this in. Being careful to keep the rubber legs out of the way. And now I'm going to take a little bit of EP brush and tie it in. Again, we have to keep everything out of the way. I love the rubber legs, but man, they can be a pain. You know, I have a very good friend of mine. I mean, it's almost unfair to say friend. I mean, he's like a brother. And he moved from Miami to the panhandle of Florida. And he is catching just awesome redfish. So I'm thinking about surprising him and sending him this fly. So now I'm going to go ahead and palmer everything to the back together. Both the chenille and the EP fiber are going to get palmered as they work their way back. Don't need a lot, just a couple of turns, keeping everything going to the back. Sometimes I think it works better if I lick my fingers. But keeping everything going to the back just like that. Now I'm going to actually separate the EP fiber, and I'm going to lock the polar. And we can actually cut off the Polar Chenille. Take a couple more turns only with the EP brush. So we get a little bit more color in the front there. And now I'm going to capture my EP brush. All you do is you kind of wiggle your thread through. We're going to take a bodkin after, and we're going to free all these pieces that are trapped. And I have a tool just for cutting wire. So now I want to push everything to the back. Before I go any farther though, I am going to take a bodkin and see if I can't free up any loose fibers here. Just like that. Now I'm going to go back under the eye, the dumbbell eyes, and I'm going to do a couple wraps on top of everything, because that will help push back this fiber. Any crazy fibers we can just cut off. And I go back under, and now I'm going to go ahead and just make a little head and tie it off. I think that this is a cool little fly. It is going to have a ton of action, a ton of flash, and I think it's going to look great in the water. It's going to have a lot of crustacean feel to it. And there it is. I will most likely make another one because I have all my materials out, and I'll probably add maybe a grizzly feather on the back end just to give it a little bit more something. I'm going to go ahead and finish the knot with a little bit of fly finish just to make sure the knot never comes undone. And I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it with you. And again, you saw how simple this was. Nothing expensive here. Inexpensive materials and just a super easy fly. This fly is going to be easy to cast. It's going to be easy to fish. And there it is. The little rubber legs is going to have great action. It's a ton of really great flash on this fly. You know, you can absolutely brush out a little bit more fibers, I'm sure. A little bit of time and effort. But there it is. We're going to call it Micro Magic. EP Magic. Micro EP Magic. I like that name. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and see you on the next video.